A little bit of a different vibe today. This is the first time we're having a car stream in a very, very, very long time, as a matter of fact. But the Utah Jazz ended up pulling out this one 123 to 108. So there is something to be happy about. Shout out to the bench for being the really the best guys on the court and getting the job done when it really mattered most. And putting together 28 points in that fourth quarter, if memory serves me correct, outscoring not only basically the starting lineup for the Milwaukee Bucks, but also holding them down on defense and forcing them to miss shots that they had been hitting either all game or just making their shots in general a little bit harder. Because that was also another key thing that came into the victory. And a lot of things you just can't expect from a lot of guys. But the bench today came in clutch in the fourth quarter when things really were looking shaky. The game looked to be relatively over, and as a matter of fact, it was not. So we can be thankful for that. Who's in the chat with me? Any opinions, thoughts regarding it? Let's see. Honestly, it was one of those games where you just are extremely surprised. You said Doc Rivers just ain't it. Oh no, he's in prime playoff Doc Rivers fashion. What do you mean, Chris? He's locked in. Losing leads is his specialty. That's what he does. That's part of the Doc Rivers experience. Just throwing games. You know, credit to that, but we also did a little bit better on our closeouts because the first three quarters, if I'm going to be quite honest, our closeouts sucked. We were overhelping way too hard in certain situations, and things just got ugly when they had no business getting ugly. But, we pulled it out in the end, and that's the most important thing. So much so that, when Giannis left the game with a few seconds remaining, the man just walked into the locker room. He didn't bother to stick around for anything because he was pissed, and rightfully so. I mean, it was one of those things where you just can't allow an opposing team to do you the way that we just did them. But we did. Said Dame struggling this year. Honestly, in my opinion, I did make a video about the All-Stars, but I have to get it edited by Sachin first because I know, as pretty as I am, nobody wants to stare at my face for like 24 minutes. I think the video is long. But Dame really didn't deserve that starting All-Star nod. An All-Star nod, probably. But starting was a little bit of a stretch, in my opinion. Admittedly, he is important and, integral to the wins that Milwaukee gets. But at the end of the day, he just, by and large, hasn't been able to get comfortable. And, he has those off-the-court things going on, like his divorce. He has, I believe, 3 kids. So that whole process can be a little bit difficult, especially going from Portland all the way to Milwaukee, which is more than halfway across the country. But, people don't really care, for one, and for two, they just want him to play basketball. So it puts him in a little bit of a bind, if I am to be honest. But it's necessary, It's where great players are defined for who they are and what they will be. And he just has a little bit more of a difficult road ahead. But I think they will right the ship. I don't think Doc Rivers was a great hire. They weren't feeling Adrian Griffin. I'm assuming it was a chemistry thing because it's hard to get rid of a coach when you're winning so well, except when you realize that you're not winning the way that you want to win. And with Giannis being the star of that team, it makes sense that if he wasn't feeling it, that the guy had to go. Now, Doc Rivers was a questionable hire at best. We are familiar with Doc's game, right? We know what Doc Rivers does well. We also know what he does not do well. And today he showcased it, right? Team got up strong. They were hitting their shots. Bobby Portis was torching the Utah Jazz from 3, kept getting open looks. A lot of people were overhelping or just out of position on defense, so that helped him get his off. But he was hitting his shots, Giannis, I believe Giannis only missed 4 or 5 shots overall across the entire game. So Giannis was on timing. Dame wasn't completely terrible. And then overall, they were just playing well. The issue came when you saw a situation that involved, obviously, just Keontae coming out. Because of the first half of the game, Keontae was just kind of existing on the court. But during that second half, and specifically that fourth quarter, 19 points, 10 rebounds. He started showcasing what he could do. He started hitting his threes. There was quite a few hockey assists. Jordan Clarkson ended the game with 5 assists, if memory serves me right, and he earned every one of them. It felt like he had closer to 8, but 5 is still fair. Colin Sexton didn't shoot terrific from the field today. He also ended up having a couple turnovers. One of them was a travel that I kind of disputed, but it wasn't worth arguing, so it counts. Jordan Clarkson didn't shoot well, but he passed the ball when it really came down to it in the fourth quarter, and he really locked things up. Walker Kessler finally decided to be aggressive and dunked the basketball, which was another key component to them winning the game. Because if you're going to win, Walker Kessler has to be an integral part of that mission. And them being able to go ahead and get things out of him right now, obviously he didn't have a double-double, but that 13 and 8 was very important when it came to him being able to go ahead and close that game down. He also had 3 blocks, which, also helps. One of them was the biggest block really came against once they, like in the last 37 seconds of the game when they made their substitutions. But outside of that, he was pretty solid on defense. There was a lot of situations that involved switches where Keontae actually had to pick up Giannis when Giannis was the screener, which I did not love, and that actually led to 2 Bobby Portis threes. But outside of that, things looked really decent. Obviously, the fourth quarter skews my perspective of it because they played a lot better in the fourth quarter than they did, anywhere else in the game. But this team is still under 500, so, there's still a little bit of a ways to go. They play OKC next. That's not a lovely game, but it's a game that you're going to have to get the job done in. So, I believe if that game is home, I feel more comfortable, but I'm pretty sure it's on the road. So, I don't love our odds, but they are odds, right? And this was a game we needed to win, especially since we couldn't beat Tyrese Maxey and the Sixers minus Embiid. That was a game that we really wanted to get, but we couldn't get. Freddie, what's good, my guy? How's it going? Night guy, you said, I'm not a guy to blame the refs, but they were awful tonight. Yes, the Greek took extra steps to walk from Delta Center to Provo. Playoff game will show up. I'm not going to lie. The refs were really benefiting the Bucks a lot. And to the point, so much so where I was surprised Colin Sexton wasn't getting a couple calls because I was like, you're going to give it to Giannis, who was almost double Colin Sexton's build, but Colin can't get one. That's interesting. And then there was a couple and ones that got called where they were shaky at best, but it was okay. What's up, Lee? You said, hey, bro, sorry, I've been busy. So I've been out the past week and a half. No, you're good. You're good. I was worried. I was actually very worried about you. I thought something happened because I was like, dang, I haven't heard from Lee in like forever. But I just had to check up, and I'm glad to see you're in here with us again. Glad to have you back. I haven't been doing the best either. I missed my first ever weekday stream last week on, what was it, our Thursday game. So that was definitely not my brightest moment. But we're back at it again. Shaking back, getting the job done like we always do, But just to go over some of these numbers, Jay Crowder played the most minutes for them at 40. Giannis was right behind him at 39.5. But Jay Crowder was 2 of 10 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. Bobby Portis was 11 of 20, 4 of 7 from 3. Giannis was 11 of 15, 0 of 2 from 3. Malik Beasley was 6 of 8 from 3, 6 of 8 from the field, and 4 of 8 from 3. We had Damian Lillard shooting very bad, actually, 27.8% from the field, 5 of 18. He was also 1 of 8 from 3. You had Green off the bench, 3 of 6 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. And really, the rest of their bench provided almost no support as Lopez, Connaughton, Payne, Beauchamp, Jackson Jr., Livingston. Thanasis was the only active guy that didn't play, naturally. But everybody else, let me see. To total it up, everybody else minus Green was 1 of 7 from the field and 1 of 5 from the three-point line. So their bench gave them actually nothing effectively, which I loved, right? Because we needed that considering Bobby Portis and Giannis decided to carry the load, and then Malik Beasley was also filling his end. You saw a situation that also allowed for Giannis to shoot 15 free throws. I agreed with about 7, maybe 9 of them. All 15 was kind of crazy, and particularly the calls that were made to lead to those 15. You know, but it happened. It was what it was. Um, he was really hitting all his free throws up until that fourth quarter when things got shaky for him. We saw Bobby Portis with 7 boards, Giannis with 7. None of their team players really rebounded particularly great. Giannis had 13 assists though, which he was really divvying it up. Dame also had 6. Not a substantial amount of steals or blocks, but Dame led their team with 2. Giannis had 1. That was the gist of that. Continuing on down the list, Giannis had 5 turnovers, Dame had 3. Total, they only had 11 though. But across the board, you had Bobby Portis with 27, Giannis with 33, Malik Beasley with 16, Damian Lillard with 12, and Green off the bench with 10. And then the best box score plus minus ended up, well, for anybody that plays significant minutes, was Giannis. He was a -8. And worst was Damian Lillard and Green. They were both -21. Not great numbers. He said, we got to hop on a call and discuss the edits you need done in the logo. Oh, yeah, for sure. A good amount of time this week. So whenever you're available, say no more, Lee. Say no more. Cam. Yes, sir. Shout out to Cam helping me watch the highlights in the Discord while I was at work because my NBA app wasn't working. So just being able to catch a couple plays here and there was nice. Defense on Bobby Portis was getting way too open. We needed to throw Taylor Hendricks for some perimeter threat. Hey, by the way, I'm not going to lie. Malik Beasley probably should have called a flagrant for blindsiding Colin Sexton the way that he did. I don't necessarily agree with it. I agree with the double tech. Let me say that. I agree with the double tech. But the fact that they were willing to just go ahead and call Colin Sexton for having a technical and just basically saying it was 1-for-1 with the fact that Colin Sexton was chipping with Giannis when actually Bobby Portis bumped Colin Sexton off track and moved him closer to Giannis. So he's talking trash, keeps walking, and then before he can turn his head around, there goes Malik Beasley. To me, that is an objectively bad play. It should have been flagrant, but it wasn't, and it was what it was. So we just got to bounce back from that. Continuing on down to the Utah Jazz's numbers, THT, Luka Samanic, and Omer Yurtseven were the only 3 DNPs. We shot 48.3% from the field, 38.6% from the three-point line, and 83.3% from the free throw line. Damn, that was missed out. Fontecchio was pretty solid, 4 of 6 from the field, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. We also saw Lowry have a pretty solid shooting night. Actually, a great shooting night from 3. He was 8 of 15 overall, 5 of 10 from 3. John Collins was 7 of 11 from the field, and 3 out of his 4 misses actually came from beyond the arc. He was 1 of 4. You had Colin Sexton going 5 of 13, but he was 3 of 7 from beyond the arc. Chris Dunn was 1 of 5 and 0 of 3 from 3, which was a little bit rough because he had some pretty timely opportunities that just didn't fall. We saw Walker Kessler start rough and then finish strong, 5 of 8 from the field. We saw Keontae George get nuclear during that fourth quarter, 7 of 13 on the game, 5 of 9 from the three-point line. We saw Jordan Clarkson going 3 of 11. That was not his finest moment, but you know what? He made up for it with the timely baskets that he did end up hitting, and he had some good assists when needed. Going on, we had Kelly Olynyk, 2 of 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, and then you had Ochai going 1 of 2 from the field with all of those shot attempts being three-pointers. From the free throw line, we saw Sexton going 6 of 6, Collins 0 of 1. Lowry actually did not attempt a single free throw in this game. Low-key, I peeped him not being the most aggressive version of himself today, which also obviously attributed to it, but I was surprised, and actually it kind of worried me a little bit. I was wondering if he was being hampered by something, or if he just elected not to go ahead and push his luck today. I mean, that being said, if you're going to give me 5 of 10 from 3, I understand you not being the most physical going at the rim, if that makes sense. Giannis flopped on that play. Yeah. Refs probably want to de-escalate. Fair play. I expect the fine on Giannis. Bobby was making too many shots. I was yelling at Kessler to sub in. It was getting ugly very quickly. I think he felt like he was about to go down, but wanted to get a foul. because Sexton got shifty. He did. He did actually. That late call on Giannis missed dunk was criminal. No, that was actually insane. I was so confused by what was going on, and even upon the replay, I don't necessarily agree. I was surprised that they went ahead and gambled and gave him that one because it just caught me all the way off guard. I was surprised that Will Hardy didn't contest the call, but I also wasn't going to argue about it because I was like, Will Hardy's a pretty well put together gentleman. He's a pretty darn good coach, and he knows what he's doing. So if he's not willing to, contest the call beyond verbally disagreeing with the referee, I'm not going to sit here and raise a whole stink about it because that's just pointless. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was questioning that one as well. James, what's good, my guy? He said, what a comeback. Bucks missed so many wide open threes. Yes, that fourth quarter was big because before the fourth quarter, let's not forget, they were torching us. Insanely so. So being able to get back and get some timely stops was very important for us, especially continuing to look forward because our schedule wasn't particularly easy leading up to this point, and we lost the one against the 76ers that we really desperately needed, considering the style of basketball we've been playing as of late, and the fact that we just had a rough road trip, like a really rough one. Wish Sexton made that dunk on Giannis, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted it, and then I was surprised they didn't give Sexton the foul because if we're going to play through continuation rules, he definitely absorbed a lot of contact from Giannis literally right after he misses it. The ball literally hits the rim, clears the rim, and they didn't end up giving him that call. So kind of surprising considering what all Giannis was getting away with and the calls that he was getting the entire night. But, here, there, and everywhere in between, things got done the way that they should have been, I suppose. Kessler needs the minutes. Yeah. Especially with John Collins' shot not falling. Now, that said, John Collins has a surprising level of chemistry alongside Colin Sexton. I saw, what was it? It was 2 or 3 lobs that they ended up connecting on. Now, that said, John Collins also caught one from... No. That was Walker. Walker and Jordan Clarkson's chemistry was put on display today as well because there was a couple times Clarkson got airborne and he had nowhere to go with that ball. And he actually made that happen, so it was good. They called an offensive foul on Sexton on that drive? Are you serious? That's actually disgusting. That's not okay. Somehow, the refs never cease to amaze me, I'm not going to lie. Just one of those things, I guess. But across the board, this was a good win for the Utah Jazz. They definitely needed this one. Continuing on down the list, we have... Walker Kessler was actually 3 or 4 from the free throw line. We're not going to really touch on that too heavily, but that was actually very, very important because, remember, he shoots like 48% from the free throw line on the season. So him getting fouled is basically hack-a-shack on steroids, and I was hoping to see some significant improvements as time went on. And we definitely got one today, which we desperately needed. He said that Colin to Collins connection is real. I need a Walker Sexton connection, though. I'm not going to lie. I do need that one. I need Walker to play as aggressive as he did in the fourth quarter every time he's on the floor. If he could do that, the level of good that he would be pretty hard to dispute, I'm not going to lie. Continuing on down the list, what you said, because bro was pulling down on Giannis after the dunk. Yeah. Side note, that Drake Crowder foul on Olynyk when Olynyk was going at the rim was actually like low key diabolical, and I was surprised they didn't. Well, no, they did give him a flagrant on that one, so it was good that they did look at that. But from the backside, it didn't look as crazy. It kind of looked like Olynyk got fouled and kind of flopped, but Olynyk's not really known for flopping, so I was like, what's going on here? And then I saw that replay, and I was like, good God, he dragged him. What's up, Dallin? Oh, you went to the game today? Oh, I know that experience was fire. You're home already? Well, I guess it's not too crazy because the game did finish around like 10:15 for me. Or I guess 8:15 for y'all. Not gonna lie, the random turnovers are costing me lifespan. Yeah, Freddie, I'm not gonna lie. You are correct on that one. There was quite a few travels that were called, a couple of legal screens, and I was like, dang, these aren't even like damaging plays. Let it run. But I was like, you know what? Here, there, and in between, everybody's going to complain about it at some point and say the refs aren't doing their job. So I guess they have to crack down at some points. Did they win? Yes, Cosmic. Yes, they did. Indeed. My lord, what a comeback. Epic, my guy. Haven't watched the Jazz game in a while. Yeah. It was a close one. Um the first half of that game was actually very rough. I mean, the first quarter we won it by what, 10 points? If memory serves me right. Second quarter we lost it by a lot, like 16 or 26. We were down. How much were we down? We were down a pretty amount. No, no, no. We might have won the first quarter by 6 and then lost the second quarter by 16, and we're down 10 at halftime. That's what happened. And then that third quarter was more or less the exact same. We were kind of dead even with them, but then the fourth quarter is when the bench actually, surprisingly enough, busted wide open. Pause. But yeah, what's up, gents? I'm at the grocery store right now. Can't chat, but I got you in my ear. You already know. What's good, my boy? That man Zach is in the building, y'all. Getting those daily necessities. Still watching ESPN to see some highlights. Nothing yet. They did show college women's basketball, though. Of course they did. Why would they show us beating the Bucks? That's bad for the brand. You know that, night guy. You know that. Bucks struggle with while Cavs do great. Did you hear about the Cavs Bucks games? Oh yeah, I do be forget. It's been a minute since I've seen you, Cosmic. Yes, sir. My resident Cavs fan. Let's see. Yeah, it was a great comeback. Yes, sir. The Jay Crowder foul, I can forgive. He showed good sportsmanship about checking on Kelly. Also, Jay Crowder loved being here, which is rare. LOL. So I can never hate on him. Nah, Jay Crowder's a respected veteran, so I don't press him too hard for really anything he does because he is pretty remorseful when he does make the wrong plays. And he's a pretty upfront and honest guy, so you can always appreciate that about a player because you can never have too much of that. You know what I'm saying? You can never have too much of it. Bucks are struggling right now. Oh, I think I just skipped. Where did I skip? Oh. Need Keontae to carry that momentum in his next games? Yes. Need that late all rookie first team push. Yeah, he needs to. If he could bring that consistency into every game he plays, we would be able to ignore his lack of defensive aptitude a lot more. I'm not gonna lie, it would be a lot more workable, all things considered. He said it's a coaching issue. I think no, I'd agree with you, Colin. Jay Crowder also got tickets for a family that lost their child while he was here. I always love him. Gotta respect it. Like Keontae. Mm-hmm. Gotta respect Jay Crowder, man. Always and forever. He's been around a lot, though. That is true. Going back to the stat sheet, Jordan Clarkson was 6 of 7 from the free throw line, though. He was 3 of 11 overall, 0 of 4 from 3, but he did hit 6 out of his 7 free throws, so we'll take it. Olenek was also 3 of 4. Interestingly enough, Keontae had 10 defensive rebounds, giving himself a double-double. Walker Kessler had 8 rebounds. John Collins had 10. Lowry had a season low, I think. He only had 3. Fontecchio had 4. Clarkson had 5. Olenek had 7. Abaji had 1 and 1 assist. Olenek had 6 assists. Clarkson had 5 assists. Keontae only had 2, but it didn't matter. Walker had 3 assists, surprisingly enough. Chris Dunn had 6. Sexton had 3. Collins had 2. Markkanen had 2. And Fontecchio had 1. We only had 3 steals as a team, Fontecchio, Markkanen, and Collins. We had 3 blocks, all 3 of them attributed to the one and only Walker Kessler. And turnover-wise, we got a little bit sloppy at times. We had 16. Keontae had 3. Walker had 1. Clarkson only had 1 today, surprisingly enough. Sexton had 4. Collins had 3. Markkanen had 2. And Fontecchio had 1. Overall, not our finest, but our highest box score plus minus was Walker Kessler. Excuse me, Walker Kessler had a plus 22, but actually Kelly Olynyk had the highest box score plus minus with a plus 24. The lowest was John Collins at a negative 9. So, again, pretty solid numbers, pretty solid production from everybody involved. You have to love when everybody comes together to get the job done. It was really one of those situations where you just got to appreciate the little things that come with everything. And we got the job done at the end of it. Let me see. He said, but this is exactly why Doc Rivers can't win a game 7 to save his life. Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. I'm not gonna lie, I put like $20 on Keontae to make all rookie first team after his summer league performance since the payout was so good. Yo, Epic, where do you be betting on? Let me know. Let me know. I'm about to lock mine in. Let me know something. I need to know where these year long bets are coming. Cause I'm willing to put $100 on something. I don't know what, but I'm willing to spread $100 around and see a W. He said Jazz have a playoff chance because of him. Yeah, a lot of guys have really stepped up. 4 quarters, game seven. That guy sucks. Yeah, yeah. I would have never guessed a 10 rebound double double for Keontae. If only he got that triple double. Hey man, it is what it is. But he had a darn stellar game today, so we have to be able to credit him where credit is due. He said near the end of the game, coach was talking to Lowry, asking him what's wrong. Also, he must have noticed it as well. Bet 100 on Sengun, defensive player of the year. That is crazy. Sengun, defensive player of the year is insane. What? George had positive minutes tonight. If he can have more positive minutes, then I take him going to the G League. Then I take back him going to the G League, but I still think he'll benefit from it. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair, Incognito. For sure, for sure. FanDuel for some states. Bovada is legal everywhere. Bet online is legal everywhere. Some bets aren't available at times. You can't bet on Jazz to make the playoffs right now. But I got you though. Yep, you can bet on them to make the playoffs depending on the day or plan. You might be able to take the win total on bet online right now. Interesting. Keontae special will come out with these clutch games, but per usual, rookies are inconsistent. I think that he can ball and will be a good player. I'm with you on that one, Jordan. I'm trying to buy the Keontae stock, and today makes it much easier than most of his games tended to recently. He said, "Can you expand on that? What are we looking at? What are we looking at? Robin Lopez should shave his head." Yo, I forgot that Robin Lopez plays for the for the Bucks. I'm so used to seeing Brooke. I was like, yo, why does Brooke have hair? And I was like, wait a minute, is this his brother? When did his brother exist here? I keep forgetting. Clarkson can go though. The 10-man rotation is not good long term. What's wrong with the injury? I think it was more of an aggressiveness thing, Lee. I'm not 100% sure though. So night guy, if you could expand on what you were saying about that, that would be beneficial for us. I use Bovada every game and place a few mini parlays to take the Jazz line just as a fan. Not big bets, but I try money off my knowledge and typically works. Yeah, that's fair. You got to be a responsible gambler. You don't want to gamble too crazy. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to gamble too crazy, but a little something here and there never hurt anybody. I mean, it did, but not too crazy. If that makes sense. You know, from my point of view, at least. Yeah. They said, I don't understand why we're tripling Giannis at times. Double is fine, but well, yeah, we'll have to live with a double team. A triple team was kind of crazy. There was a couple times where we would help off of Bobby Portis, and the man that was supposed to be on Bobby would slide to the midline underneath the free throw line, which is crazy. If somebody's in the corner and you slide all the way under the rim, that's kind of rough. It's a very terrible idea, actually. Lara was hands on knees, and coach was asking what's wrong. Sorry, guys, that's all I know. Oh no, you're good, night. I was just wondering. Maybe winded, perhaps. Hoping he was winded because he did play decently enough. He wasn't super aggressive, but he played well, shot well. Gave up so many threes because of Giannis getting doubled and tripled. Yeah, because they kept initiating the pick and roll that got Keontae George or Colin Sexton on him, which is a death sentence by many accounts, or just free throws at the line, which he was oddly enough hitting the first half of the game, which obviously wasn't ideal. Actually, instead, you need to build a wall against him at times, especially when you got the second quarter. I can see that. Clarkson Yes. Now Clarkson had a rough shooting night tonight, but he made up for it in that fourth quarter. It was getting ugly at times because sometimes usually within the first four dribbles that Clarkson makes, you can tell what kind of timing he's on. Whether he's on a I might pass the ball or a he's gonna get tunnel vision. And when he gets tunnel vision, it's very easy and it's very difficult. Doc Rivers already in playoff form. Yes, he is. Yes, sir, sir. Sir Luke, is that your first comment in the live? Bro, what's good, my guy? How's it going? Glad to have you. Said gambling can ruin your life. It ruins mine. I need to stop it. I try so hard. I've probably lost a total of about 5K. Normally, I'm really smart with my money, but sometimes I just make stupid 2 to 3K bets. Golly, Tate, you got that much money to play around with? Trying to get it back. Don't do it. I don't know if I could if I could afford to put myself in that position. I'm not gonna lie. Your pockets are much deeper than mine, senor. But yes, I would say yes. Don't get too deep. Gambling is not a great thing, guys. Just finishing this report real quick. What we say? One second. Let's go. All right, I'm alive again. What did we say? ESPN actually showed highlights of the game. That's what I'm talking about. All Bucks. Wow. And it said, and the Jazz win by 15. Wow. If that's not generational hate, I don't know what is. I'm not going to lie. That's crazy. Against OKC, I'd like to see what the bench does. I don't expect this level of play again. And with that said, I'd like to see Hardy play his starters longer. Yeah, I think the only reason it made sense for him to go ahead and let the bench guys run was because they were playing so well. Because let's face it, while they have had good games, like particularly during our run of wins, as of late our bench has been a negative. So to see them go off like this, it was like, hold on, guys, let them cook. But I don't think that it's going to be feasible that we can allow this to continue to occur going forward because we just don't have the strongest track record of succeeding in these situations, you know? But who's to say? Who is actually to say? With that being said, I believe in the long-term game plans that Will Hardy might put in place specifically for our guys because I do believe in his intellectual prowess. But yeah, the OKC game is going to be difficult. I believe the Jazz can make it to the playoffs. Oh yeah, for sure, Cosmic. I'm with you. You said that's the problem. Not gonna lie, I was nervous on what Clarkson was going to do the game he subbed in. I was getting heart palpitations on the two. Yeah, of course, ESPN said that they got to highlight the Bucks because they're contenders. Yeah, naturally. I just know if Clarkson was in that situation on the upcourt heave, Kessler played to Keontae. Oh yeah, he would have found a way to turn it over. He's a turnover goat. I mean, he does lead the team in turnovers, so him having only one turnover today was actually very impressive despite his poor shooting night. Damn, when I'm making a big bet, my biggest was $110 on the Jazz, over $35 win. I wrote down potential losses and outcomes on a sheet of paper. It saved me from making bets I regret more. Got to keep the focus on teams going to the finals. Yeah, that's truly. I wish Ochai played more minutes tonight. Ochai is an interesting piece, and he's kind of fading out of the limelight low key. Not because he's bad, but because we just don't have the means to properly use him, I guess, for his benefit. I guess in a way, it's difficult. I have to look more at his numbers and at him the minutes that he's actually played. Like I have to actually deep dive on it before I say something like absolutely outlandish. But he's kind of in interesting waters, I'll say. I'll say. Calling it now. Milwaukee first round exit. The team screams 2022 Jazz. First round exit is crazy though. Maybe second round. This is why I do it though. It's because I'm a young guy and I see all those depressing videos about how a house is basically impossible. It makes me depressed and I feel stuck. So sometimes I just think, well, if I can never achieve my goals at the point of money, at least gambling gives me a chance, even though it kind of doesn't. But I lie to myself. That might have been the realest thing you could have said. I'm 100% on board with that call. Yeah, tonight was justifiable. 43 watching. Oh, I didn't even peep. That's nice. It wasn't higher when I was going. I think we were in here the one night, Lee. I think we got up to like 47. We never clipped 50, but we got pretty close. Recently, though, the live streams haven't been doing too hot, so I'm not sure if it's because I'm in the car. Maybe if everybody's rocking with the, security shift, night, third shift type vibes, or maybe it's because the Jazz ended up actually, beating Milwaukee and that brought people along. But glad to have everybody, nevertheless. Make sure to like the video, man, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. I go live after every game. I cover specifically the Utah Jazz. I do have an individual channel that's geared towards the NBA. I'm going to start uploading on that, but, that's going to be an Easter egg for later. Said Keontae and Walker show many flashes of Donovan and Rudy. Fair play. Buckle up, gents. Trade deadline on Thursday. It's Thursday? Yup. I got 2 videos dropping tomorrow and the next day. Hopefully no insane trade happens before then because I'm going to be pissed. Spoiler alert, just so I can say I said it. I think that if DeJounte Murray does get traded, he's coming to us. I'm going to go ahead and call that, right? I'm going to go ahead and call it if he gets traded because it's 50-50. It's 50-50. They don't need to trade him. But they're saying if they do and their demands are met, I think we're going to be the team that gets him. Also, I want to see us make a play for Mikal Bridges. I want to see us at least put in an offer. I think it makes sense to. We have the assets to, and the Nets aren't going anywhere with their talent and options. They're just screaming somebody take from us because we are going to be willing to sell. We have no future, no guaranteed future at least, in my eyes. In my eyes. But it gets better. We said, ooh, wow. Taking the Jazz were 7-16. Bovada had them going 1,800 and playing 2,000 for the playoffs. I put $60 on both, and if one hits for like 1K on one, the other one for both is 2.5K. Fair play. Honestly, before the 2-6 slide, now it's 3-6. But I was once saying don't trade anyone but THT. Now I'm all for trades. LOL. Yeah, we're all over the place. I know, Lee. I'm with you there. Do you think DeJounte Murray will be dealt? Oh, I just happened to speak about it. Yeah. I think that if he does get traded, he's coming to us. We have the most to offer him. Other teams like, OKC has a lot of assets and a lot of potential room to make deals, but they're not going to get in the sweepstakes. Let's call it spade a spade. So that leaves us because we have more to offer than the Lakers do, right? Jalen Hood-Schifino, what was it, a second-round pick or a first-round pick, and D'Angelo Russell after he got booed at the line and told, we don't want you. That's not going to be a very enticing deal if you are the Atlanta Hawks, at least. Probably the win. Post games after wins are always searched more. Yeah, probably. Jordan probably not since Quinn Snyder has been begging management to keep him. Yeah, he has. He's been a big proponent for it. So we'll see how that shakes out. I read the Jazz made an offer on Murray. Yep, yes they did. They didn't detail exactly what the offer was, though. That's the only thing that makes me questionable. But it also gives me kind of hope because since I don't know exactly what was told, I'm guessing it had to have been good, right? Because if it was trash, they would have just went ahead and threw it out there. Said, "Hey, yo, they really just offer this BS? They must think we're foolish, you know." But I don't know. Let's see. Supposedly Utah made an offer of Sexton, THT, and picks from Michael to Brooklyn, but Brooklyn declined. Brooklyn wants like 6 firsts. Yo, they said that goofy thing about them having like 10 teams offered. There was multiple teams that offered 5 first round draft picks for Michael Bridges. Is Michael Bridges a good player? Yes. Is he a great defender? Yes. Can he get a bucket? Yes. Is he a number one option on a championship caliber team? No. So why the heck are we trading 5 first round picks for him? We're not. Nobody is. And all the NBA insiders are saying it's hard. They're hard pressed to find one team that would do it. So if they're going to tell us there's multiple upwards of 10 teams that trying to make a deal like that, that's insane. Why would we do that? Why would anybody do that? I'd like to trade for Murray if the goal is to have him and Sexton. I would love that backcourt. And the backcourt, I think, would be a nice backcourt for sure. And then you would have Chris Dunn move to the bench alongside Keontae George. So Keontae George can really just take a step up and play along another backcourt guard that is defensively oriented. Because remember, Jordan Clarkson is anything but defense. So that would be nice. You know, he said, I miss these lives. Glad to have you back, brother. I'm in so much denial over DeJounte because I want this team to see the playoffs so badly. I'd be in tears of joy if they landed DeJounte without having to give up too much. Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of assets that we have to give. I love it. Miss the family here. You already know. What's good, my boy Jeff? Yes, sir. Hello, hello. So the 5 first-round picks offer was supposedly like 2 unprotected firsts and 3 swaps, but that's still crazy. I still say that's crazy. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Epic. That's actually out of pocket. I'm holding out hope that for Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes isn't actually a crazy pick. That's actually like really reasonable for us. I don't know how much he would potentially push the needle per se, but he's definitely a very reasonable piece to add to the fold. I mean, me personally, I would be willing to make that deal. It shouldn't be too costly because it's not as though New York is using him to a substantial, degree, which is part of it. But all in all, I think it's very reasonable that if we can't make a play for DeJounte Murray and they say, you know what, we're not really, going for it, I'm not really worried about it. You know, it just seems pretty mellow for me, at the very least. I don't understand the Grimes hype. He does some decent things well, and he has enough of the proper intangibles that in the right situation, he should succeed, in theory, right? The only issue is he hasn't been put in a position to use those tools and the proper system to allow him to look like he knows what he's doing. So that has been the biggest issue across the board for him in particular, I would say. Anyone else annoyed of Olynyk's play recently? Yes, today was definitely one of his better games, but he has been a little bit rocky as of late, I have to say, otherly. L-I-L-I-L-I. But, all things considered, I'm not super concerned about things. He was looking a lot more tradable recently to me. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say I was a hater, but I was feeling a little bit irritated with him. So much so that I was willing to be like, you know what? Trading him to a contender right now wouldn't be so bad. But, I digress. Because games like this are why you have Kelly Olynyk, right? He offsets the playmaking on the bench when the bench is actually scoring. And while he's not a terrific defender, he does just enough at times. He said, my thing with Grimes is fans would need to be patient since he's a lot like Ocha. I would love him, but he's young and has holes to be patched. Yeah, for sure. I definitely see it. I can definitely see it that way, Epic. Hopefully the Jazz didn't tear your soul down lately. They have mine. The Jazz have put me in a whirlwind. My life was falling apart, and then watching the Jazz get absolutely hornswoggled by everybody definitely wasn't good for my mental health. I'm not going to lie to you. My videos have also suffered as a result. Anybody that goes on my channel will see like I have videos that go like 2K, 4K, 2K, 3K, 7K, 8K, 4K, and then it goes like 200 views, 400 views. It's like, my the money that I was putting into the videos that I was no longer getting back, low key was hurting. But this was a quality win, so hopefully my video tomorrow will, spark up some hype, make things interesting, bring us a little bit of change. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, these first couple of videos today have not been the nicest. We'll say it that way. Michael is the only player in the league that can play all 82 at this point, at a high level too. At a high level. Side note: Kawhi and Paul George have missed like what 3 and 4 games individually this season, and ADs are pretty healthy too. I'm happy for them. I love good basketball. That's one thing. I don't love every player, but I love good basketball and I love healthy basketball. That's another key thing for us. I feel like he's doing more than he is asked. But Kelly also wants to be here, and wanting to be on a rebuilding team says a lot about Utah. Even if I don't understand it. Nah, that's real. Something I noticed about the losses: this win, Fontecchio's shooting. If his shot goes down, the opponent goes down. If he's off, oh boy. Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. There's been a couple games where we actually managed to pull out a W, even with his poor shooting, because Fontecchio is one of those guys where him having a poor shooting night, he also will not just sink your team, right? When Jordan Clarkson is known to have a poor shooting night, he probably is also being turnover prone. Fontecchio is never really turnover prone because he doesn't really use the ball in his hands very heavily, for one. And for two, when he does have the ball in his hands, he doesn't really make very poor decisions with it when he's afforded the opportunity to. Combine that with the fact that he rebounds pretty decently in his role, in his niche role. And he also timely comes up with, a block or a steal every game, and then also has some assists. So overall, he does enough things well to where even in nights where his shot is off, like there was one game where he played like 32-ish minutes and was 0 of 5 from the field. But obviously, if you're only going to miss 5 shot attempts and only take 5 shot attempts, that's not enough of a negative to necessarily say you're hurting the team. But at the same time, you have to do something else well or play defense well enough for us to keep you on the court, or else you're pretty much useless if we can't take a net negative on the court like that for especially 2/3 of the game. That's insane. You said, that reminds me, I got to go back and watch your videos. I missed over the last couple of weeks. Oh, no, you're good, Lee. Is it me, or does Jordan Clarkson and Kelly Olynyk hunt for fouls instead of trying to score? Trade both of them pricks. Jordan. Nah, sometimes Jordan Clarkson does get caught in very interesting waters. I wouldn't really say Olynyk foul baits to me. I think that he's more prone to fouling himself than, allowing a foul for somebody else. Or trying to hunt a foul. I'll say that. Trying to hunt a foul. But I could be potentially wrong. I'm willing to entertain that, most definitely. Because that's what makes me different. I admit when I'm wrong. But yeah, the Utah Jazz coming up, being able to clutch this one was very important, especially over this, like Lee said, we were 2-8 over our past, 2-6 over our past 8 games, and being able to come back and get this one to make us 3-6 over our past 9. We definitely needed it, especially when we were able to get as far as being 7-3 over our last 10 at one point. This was in stark contrast to that. So being able to make that next step and save ourselves a little bit of time on this skid was necessary, because we do have some not cake games but more manageable games coming up. But we had to be able to make it out of this stretch with some W's. We can't be leaving here with L's galore. That's just not going to work. I have a feeling the deadline is going to hurt some Jazz fans. I got you. Feeling down like going to hurt some Jazz fans, maybe myself. Danny Ainge is notorious for maximizing value on guys, and I do trust him, but sometimes it's tough. I see what you're going for, and it would not surprise me. It would piss me off, but it would not surprise me if he does something that involves sending away some guys that we consider to be fan favorites, or guys that we think have been playing so well and could be part of the future for this team. I definitely think that it is possible that he does make some of those decisions. I would love for him not to because I enjoy them being a competitive team, right? Nobody wants to sit there and, mind you, remember, I come from being previously a Charlotte Hornets fan. So I'm used to watching directionless basketball on a nightly basis and hoping and praying they end up beating some randomly good team on a random night and then fall back into mediocrity. Um, I don't want to see the Jazz do that. It's very much not fun, and it makes you feel old. It makes you hate basketball sometimes. So I'd like to say that I don't think that that's the path that we'll take. I hope it's not the path that we take because I like the direction that they're on right now. This course is pretty reasonable. Let me see. Fontecchio needs to put a bit of weight on. Then, like, yeah, real boy. That's creative, that guy. That's real creative. I was not expecting that. Keep Kelly Olynyk, trade JC. If we're promising young player, I don't care about a pick personally. Yeah, we have enough picks. And it seems like a lot of the feelers we've been putting out there as far as trade deals haven't really involved us looking for draft capital. We've been looking for guys to 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 play games and contend now. Now we're not looking for old men, but we're looking for 20 somethings that either have potential or have flash potential and flash the ability to really win us games or win their respective team games. And we think they could fit well into the system that we do. And I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Um, because this could be a very quick rebuild, and I hope that it is. Let me see. We said not entirely true. Fontecchio shot well against the Nets. I think we got blitzed. Yeah, the other games we lost to is good night. We win more often than not. Yeah, yeah, I'm with that. I like to see the Jazz hierarchy after the trade deadline. It starts with Sexton and Lowry. I'd love to see the minutes reflect that. Yeah, yeah, it would be nice. I love. Side note: I love how Colin Sexton is always the same dude, whether he's on the court playing or on the sideline, just there. Like Keontae George, after that dunk he had, hangs on the rim for a second, comes down. First guy flying off the bench as soon as the ref blows the whistle for the dead ball. Colin Sexton, hype as all outdoors, runs over to him, embraces him, shouting in his ear. He's happy for the guy. Then I think it was Olynyk the next time coming back down, loses the ball a little bit. Jordan Clarkson couldn't find a bucket that he wanted, ends up diming the ball back out to Olynyk. Olynyk drives, goes mid range in the middle of the paint, one dribble, fader falling backwards, hits it. Sexton again, first guy shouting, screaming, hooting, and hollering on the bench, just hype for the guys. And he didn't play really many minutes at all in the fourth quarter. But it's just that contagious energy where he doesn't care if he's playing a million minutes or if he's playing 10. As long as they win, he's behind whatever they got going on. And you can't really, that's something you can't teach. That's just in certain players and other players don't have it. So shout out to Colin Sexton for always being a team guy, regardless of situation. I love that for him. And I love that for the team, more importantly. We said, for the most part, Fonseca shoots well. I think the Jazz are 8-3. Yeah, that sounds about right. 8-4. I can't remember the early days of the season. I tried to delete them from my memory. Oh yeah, we all tried to, Lee. You're not wrong. Really hoping Hendricks can find some men's post deadline. Part of me thinks Utah might be holding him as a secret weapon type of player, but that's wishful thinking. I think so too. Taylor Hendricks is going. He's like what John Collins was supposed to be. The shooting big that can dunk and finish at the rim, plus defense. So John Collins plus some. That's going to be a very key thing to look at going forward. I don't know how much is going to play into what ends up happening, but I definitely like what I can potentially see them doing with him. Lakers isn't true. My worst would be winning games comes easier when he shoots well, keeps defenses honest, and lanes open. If you solve defenses, can cheat more. That's a fair play. That's fair play. Absolutely comes easier. 100% true. You need to respect him on the perimeter. Yep. Wasn't pounding. A legit great teammate and leader. Mm-hmm. Although I literally said that my wife Sexton is hyped cheering at his teammates, closing the game as he is closing himself. The type of guy you need on a team. Mm-hmm. Sexton's the only man I can dream and say I love. Is that people I know? No, I got you, Lee. True, if Sexton becomes that glue guy, letting go of JC becomes easier, for sure. Sexton has proven that he needs to be part of the future in a way he fuels energy. Mm-hmm. JC's a bit older, than my ex-girlfriend's dead black heart. He's been colder than my girlfriend's dead black heart. That's crazy. But yeah, man, we had ourselves a day today, boys. I don't know about y'all, but I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm pleased. You know what I'm saying? It was a great show that they put on. Not much to be complaining about on my end of things. It was enjoyable. I'm happy. I'm content. You know, can't be mad at much. The Jazz have really gotten a lot of things done that needed to get done, and across the league, things are starting to shake up. Of course, the Lakers are starting to come back alive. They're above 500, if memory serves me right. I think they're 26 and 25. So, got to bypass those boys again, and I don't love that because us being able to get ahead of them in the beginning was already enough difficulty. So, being able to do it again would be a little bit, difficult naturally. 1 second, gentlemen. I arrived on site at Presley Oaks and turned on my patrol lights before entering the gated area. Period. I observed both entrance and exit gates to have been properly secured and in working order upon my arrival. Period. The pool and gym areas were observed to be vacant, and no suspicious individuals were observed to be on site. Period. There were no noise disturbances, and all areas of the parking lots were well lit and showed no signs of property damage. The site was observed to be secure at the end of my patrol. Period. Nice. I'm so good at this. So easy. We said, just got home. Took so long, I may have went to August miss me up. That's all it takes all around is my response. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Glad to have you in the fold as always, Zach. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Hardest worker alive. Man, look. Got to get it one way or another. I saw my numbers dip. I said, nah. I missed my live last week. That was what really killed me. Because I was having a rough stretch in life. And combine that with the Jazz also having a rough stretch of games, I was like, oh dear. The live stream started getting quiet. But, shout out Cam and Flair. I don't know if Flair's in here with us right now, but they definitely, helped keep me alive and keep me breathing in this one, which I desperately needed because the Jazz put us in some difficult waters, but we were able to pull this one out, so that's good. We said, who's ready for the trade deadline? Hey, Spence, it's coming up, bro. It's coming up. I kid you not. Good night, Kings. Great win. NBA offices go to bed pissed tonight. I love it. Good night, Night. You can tell Sexton absolutely loathes losing. His good trade of his. Sexton seems more tense and confrontational when the team went on a losing streak. You could tell losing eats at him. He's the same guy when you're winning. He's the same guy when you're losing. He wants to win every game, and he's going to go at it. He could be up 15 or down 20. He's still going to be the same Colin Sexton, and you can't talk too much about it. You love it. We said, smash the like though, gents. You already know. Oh, yeah, Zach. Hey, Spence be popping in every now and then. Not crazy. Dink hasn't popped in a minute, but I know Dink's around. He's been busy. Dink been cooking. I need him to create some long-form content, bro. Well, Dink is so great at the shorts, bro. I need him to try, just a calm little 8-9 minute video because he really got it in him. He just needs to do it, honestly. Once he does it the first time, I think he'll fall in love with it a little bit. He said, I know I need to pop in the strings more often. Yeah. Maybe better, LOL, than Hito. This best comp I could think of. Fair play. Spencer and Wraith, but just Dubers ain't nothing else. Hype for Thursday? Hey, it's coming fast, Epic. It's coming fast. 313 Clip YFN. Big basketball creators. Facts. Who else will watch Wraith? Those security rounds live when you get a ball going. OD Lee. I think I'm gonna do a trade deadline stream. Just been mad busy. Ain't been having the time. You should pop in, Racer. Hey, let me know. What day you gonna do it? You're gonna do it on the deadline? You can do it on the deadline, Zach? Let me know. I'll definitely pop in for show. You dig? I'm right there behind you 100% of the way. Said Kessler was big for us in the fourth. Do you think he showed some more good flashes? What else do you want to see from Kessler? If Kessler can expand and be that aggressive and that tenacious of a rebounder and just be all over the glass the way that he was, you know, in that fourth quarter specifically, then I like our odds going forward because we haven't seen that version of Walker Kessler consistently over an entire game in quite some time. Him being able to keep that up would be lovely. We definitely need it, but again, who's to say what you can get out of Walker Kessler some nights, you know? You said deadline night, yeah. As time expires, just talk about all the main trades. Jeff. Oh, most definitely. I'm there, Zach. I'm there. I'm locked. Yep. Right, I need you to take off work on Thursday and do a multi-hour stream so I can listen while working. Let me think. Because I work at the school on Thursday. Got security on Thursday night. So best believe I'm gonna be live. I'm definitely gonna have Zach's stream pulled up in my other phone. I'm gonna have Zach on one screen. I'm gonna have me on the other. Spence streaming. I'm gonna have Spence on the other one. You already know how we sliding with it. You already know. But to be honest, you think DeJounte fixes our issues? He fixes a lot of issues that we have, mainly because you can play DeJounte for long, elongated periods of time. The issue that we run into with Chris Dunn is more so because he lacks the shot creation aspect for himself individually, and he knows it, right? He's a very self-aware player. So the issue comes in when we get ourselves into holes. You can't play him because, yes, he can table set for Lowry and the other guys, but what if the other guys aren't hitting their shots? Well, case in point, John Collins hasn't been hitting his shots lately. So what does that mean? That devalues the effectiveness of him individually because the guys that he's using to make himself effective aren't being effective themselves. Aside from that, I'm not super concerned about things on his part, but I think DeJounte allows himself to be an elite playmaker, which moves Chris Dunn to the bench and bolsters our playmaking off the bench and provides us to have much better shot selections across the board. Take that, and then also combine to the fact that he's a pretty good shooter, not a terrific shooter from three. I think he's like 36.8% from 3-point range, but that's respectable still, nevertheless, right? A clear, consistent 20-point per game score to add to the fold of a Colin Sexton who can give you 20 any night, and Lowry who can give you 20 any night, and now you have consistently 60 points coming from your top three scorers on the team. You don't have to worry about somebody potentially giving you 15 one night and potentially giving you 32 the next night like Jordan Clarkson does, right? You're going to always have that consistent, guaranteed scoring punch from the dynamic duo that's Colin Sexton and Larry Markkinen, plus the third guy who, by the way, is also going to be spearheading on defense. He still has the length to get things done. He takes things personally. And I think that DeJounte, alongside Colin Sexton's mentalities together, would low-key be extremely tough. I say that because DeJounte Murray, you ever see him when the way he goes at Paolo Banchero? Anytime he sees that man, he wants to give that man 45 and curse his children. I want a guy like that on my team. I don't want to play against a guy like that, but I want a guy like that on my team. And I think that he would be an ideal fit. Now, I think that's also probably why he hasn't fit the best with the Hawks because of his particular play style, right? He doesn't have that backyard basketball, we win, we lose, we're happy either way just because we got a paycheck kind of basketball. That's not his thing. His thing is catching a W and letting you know about it. So if he can't do that, he feels some sort of way about it. And credit to what Colin Sexton has done rejuvenating this team and holding everybody accountable, I think that is going to push everybody to be better. We said that's what we need, Epic. You think they will not trade away? They'll probably shift a couple people away, but I don't know who all it will be. Would the company you do security for allow you to do lives? I think they'd be a potential sponsor for it too. Great exposure. That's my 2 cents. Lee, actually, that's 20 cents. I don't know, actually. I mean, they don't even find out that I do these lives. On DeJounte, I totally think he transformed the Jazz team. Oh, there you go. My son got my phone when I was typing. Oakley for the typo win. Shout out Oakley, man. Has he been sleeping well lately? DeJounte is also so cold blooded, man. Watching the dude in Atlanta, he has games where he just takes them to the top. Yeah, and like, I kid you not, having him in the backcourt alongside Colin Sexton, I don't think people understand just how tenaciously raw that would be. Like, imagine DeJounte Murray gets a steal and lobs it to, you know, let's be conservative and say he lobs it to Colin Sexton. You know how hyped they're gonna be? Imagine DeJounte Murray causes somebody to get a second violation. You know how hyped Colin Sexton's gonna be? He's gonna look at DeJounte. He's gonna get hyped. DeJounte's gonna get hyped. They're both gonna be hyped. They'll be like, "Yo, what is even going on right here? This is like my last two brain cells cooking right now, and it's gonna be hype." I like. It's so tantalizing. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. That would be worth spending extra money to get a ticket and see that game. I'm not gonna lie. That would be crazy. Trading John back to the Hawks. Would they take him back though? That's the only question. Unfortunately, no. He has slept like 3 hours a night. I'm dying right now. Oh man, Busy Saab Danny is getting the least amount of sleep since he was born. Goodness. Yeah, he's got it out for you, Lee. I understand why you've been busy these past couple weeks. He is not off. He's not affording you any type of luxury. Tell Oakley to lock in. No, I'm playing. He'll get there eventually, though. I believe. I believe. Nope. Put my other AirPod in. And I think I'm synced up pretty good. Let me see. John Collins has been amazing in my opinion. Yeah, Oakley's been a pain in the ass lately. Collins is a great game. Had a great game. Yeah, Collins did most of his damage in the first half, keeping us in the game, and then just really sat on the bench for most of the second half. I'm not gonna lie, particularly that fourth quarter. Like, yeah, him and Sexton were both on the bench basically almost the entire time, low key. But obviously, you saw Sexton because Sexton was sitting there every time there was a timeout, a dead ball. He was getting lit with everybody, just hyping everybody up, letting them know they were still in and they still had the opportunity to get things going. He said, I love him, but he's testing me lately. Hey, one day you'll miss these days, but today isn't that day, unfortunately. You know, today just isn't that day. I arrived on site at the Bryce and turned on patrol lights before driving through the main parking lot area. Period. I observed the leasing office building to have been properly secured and the gym area to be vacant. Period. The pool area was vacant as well as the backyard social area, and no suspicious individuals were observed to be loitering on site grounds. Period. There were no break-ins observed, and no suspicious vehicles were observed to be cruising through any of the parking lot areas, nor were they parked on site. Period. The site was observed to be secure at the end of the patrol. Nice. Man, I'm good at my job. I'll be zooming through it these days. Where are we at with it? Any crazy stories working security? I'm not gonna lie. Most of my stories have to do with homeless people. Oh, somebody yesterday. Side note, somebody yesterday observed a break-in. Like they went to the site of where they were doing their routine security patrol and observed a break-in. Got the guy arrested and everything. Come to find out, this guy actually came there earlier and stole a car. So he stole a car early in the afternoon, came back at night to actually rob the house or the business or whatever it was, and got caught that time. So he really doubled up on an L right there. You hate to see it, man. Some people just don't learn. Some people just don't learn, you know? But the clock goes on. You dig? The clock goes on. You said we needed that three bigs lineup for Giannis in the end. That's why Ochai and John didn't play the regular minutes. Yeah, that is true. That's a fair play. I'm definitely going to tend to agree with you on that one there, sir. Absolutely wild. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, usually I have like the women that love to sell themselves, and the gentlemen that can that love their extracurricular activities. That's what we'll call them. They love breathing spicy air and other things. You know, but that's really it for the most part, at least. If we trade sex, and what is your response? He said, "I love those kinds of women." I'm not gonna lie. If we trade Sexton, we would have to get something very worthwhile in return. Because if you lose Sexton, you lose a core part of your mentality. Because between Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton, I love Colin Sexton's mentality because that is more conducive to long-term winning. Right? I need a guy that's going to do his best to make the right decisions regardless of how he feels about a play and is willing to change his play style and be effective and properly be capable of doing so as well. Which I've seen a lot more out of Colin Sexton. I mean, for Pete's sake, he just set a career high in assists with 13. He's just drastically upped his assists on a consistent basis, consistently hitting, 6, 7, sometimes 8 assists. Um, that's something I never expected from him. I expected him to hit a consistent 4 or 5 this year. I was not expecting 6, 7, 8, much less 13 on any night. And I believe in him. Everybody knows I love Colin Sexton, but even I didn't. I wasn't bought in that much, right? I didn't have all my chips bet on black, and he said you should have, basically. So if we trade him, we'd have to get something like of very good value back, and we'll see how things go. But loving those kinds of women is hilarious, Zach. That business should be glad it's you work in security and not the Jazz over the last week. The Jazz aren't stopping anyone. Appreciate you, Eugene. I appreciate that, my guy. How long have you been in here? Is this your first live with us? Let me know something. Lee, you call me Zach said. Yeah. But yeah, man. I'm definitely glad to have the gang back together and have this live, swimming like always. It's a nice blast from the past. We take what we can get sometimes, fellas. You know what, Zach? I'm not gonna lie. I've been in a drop before several times, and I respect it. I can't say I would do it. I wouldn't tell on myself, but I respect where you're coming from, brother. I'm not gonna lie. Life do be getting tough sometimes. Yep, long time Jazz fan. Glad to have you, sir. Nice. Nice. Glad to have you with us, Eugene. Yep. I try to do at least 2 Jazz videos a week individually, and I live stream after each game. Like, obviously, weekends, I usually work security at night, so unfortunately, you guys get a car stream, but if you check any of my other live streams, you'll see I'm usually sitting on the couch at my set. Have you ever boxed someone on the clock? Nah, I've never had to. Me boxing somebody on the clock is crazy, though, because I'd be so irritated at the fact that you made me get out of the car and address you because you can't follow simple instructions. It would be a very quick and it would be me. I would low key just start trying stuff, especially if I know they can't actually defend themselves and they're just being like goofy. I would just have to just start trying stuff to make it more entertaining for myself because at that point, what am I actually doing wasting my time with you? That's so much energy that I could be putting towards something else, like thinking of video topics and actually doing my job, you know? You said, would you trade Sexton for DeJounte straight up, no extras? Ooh, that's a good question, Lee. That's a really good question. Objectively, DeJounte immediately impacts the team slightly more than Colin Sexton does, so long as he can keep his shooting the way that it is, right? Now, the intangible part is the fact that Colin Sexton is such a good, like, leadership quality guy and a good guy that can sit on the bench and won't complain. In fact, not only will he not complain, he will hype up the man you put in the game for him, the man that is actively keeping him off the court. He will hype up and be happy for. I don't know if DeJounte Murray does that. For this particular team, it's more egoless than anything. I don't know if DeJounte Murray necessarily fits that billing on his own, but I feel like he would actually meld. The thing is, he's so similar to Colin Sexton. He either melds really well with him or actually terribly. I'd like to bet on very well, though. So I wouldn't love to make that trade, but I would understand if they did. If that was an offered thing, I would understand. I would have to. Yes, sir. Welcome Eugene in, Zach. You already know. He's part of the family now. If we're honest, Sexton's numbers last 15 games are all-star worthy. The only thing keeping him out is the rough start to his career, which is why getting in the playoffs is so important. Yeah, that's true. And the fact that he started the season on the bench, that was like the really big thing. If we're honest, I mentioned it earlier, but Milwaukee kind of screams early playoff exit, huge gaping hole in the perimeter, D, streaky shooting, and reminiscent of the Jazz in 2020 or 2016. Yes, sir. I wouldn't really, but I would Clarkson. Oh yeah, I would love to Clarkson. I would give him Clarkson, THT, and I might think about Olenek, but I probably wouldn't. I would think about Olenek though. Yeah, I would be hard pressed not to. What do you guys think about Key starting sooner than later? Considering how it went earlier on this season, I didn't love it. I don't think he's ready for that starting role to make us win because he's been streaky more often than not, and defensively he has a lot that he needs to work through. But with that being said, he shows flashes like tonight. Undeniably, that it tells you, yeah, this guy's going to be tough. Give him a year or two, and he's going to be tough. That's what tonight tells you. But then he has another night where he'll shoot like 3 of 11 or 3 of 12 and go 1 of 6 from 30, and it's like, oh dear, do we really know what's going on here? But it's kind of like a back and forth exchange, if you will. I don't really 100% know. But there's a lot of things that come into it and a lot of things at play. So we'll see how things really pan out for us. All things considered. What am I at right now? Ooh, my phone is about to die. I'm about to have to wrap this one up, gentlemen. Unfortunately, you guys think Sexton Murray trade debate gives me vibes of Troy Booker to now Allen debate. One guy obviously better than the other. Guy brings a ton of energy. Fair. Neither shifts the tide is what you're saying. Neither shifts the tides. I think if DeJounte melds well with everybody and buys into the scheme, he will objectively be the better piece because he can play defense in a way that Colin Sexton, despite his effort, physically will never be able to. Colin Sexton cannot grow 2 inches and increase his wingspan by more than 4 inches, right? But that said, DeJounte Murray is taller, longer, and shoots similar percentages. So you can't just ignore it. That's the thing. Hello. Those things. Just those things. I just had neither shifts at all. IU, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? How's it shaking? I'm on 1%, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I love it. I love Murray. Can't stress that enough. Yeah, I'm glad we went live today, boys. It was fun. It was awesome actually. We got a lot done. We enjoyed, the Jazz being a victorious team for once, which I really appreciated because we really needed this W, particularly considering the waters that we've been in lately. But, you know, with that being said, and if all hearts and minds are clear, I appreciate y'all, gentlemen. As always. Oh, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We do this all the time. Utah Jazz channel. I'm about to post on the main channel and get some other teams and topics involved. So if you have any, drop them in the comment section of this live stream so I can get to the night. With that being said, as always, I appreciate y'all. Be safe getting home if you're not home. If you are home, get some rest, man. And if you're in another part of the world, let us know what place you are in the comments below. As always, it's your boy Wraith Hoops. Like the video, subscribe, turn on post notifications, become a member to support the channel and get the videos faster than anybody else. And as always, good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you're on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you boys in the next one. Peace.